Hey guys, it's Karissa. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new and this is the first time you've ever seen my motherfucking face before. Okay, and if this is the first time that you've ever seen my face, I'm Karissa, also known as Vivacious Embrace, on all platforms. And my main platforms right now currently are YouTube and Substack, so make sure that you follow me and subscribe to me here, comment, like, and also check me out on Substack because I post my writings and my poetry on there too. So it'd be really appreciated if you go support a girl, because I'm a multi-dimensional, multi-faceted being, okay? But also, if you have never seen my face before and are curious about what I'm here to talk about, what I do, why I do what I do, I do what I do because I value collective liberation and freedom for all people. That is the core and the heart of my movement. And I am somebody who is just simply sharing the mess, the ebbs and flows, and just what I have learned on my journey as I heal my relationship with myself and I reclaim my power, my authenticity, and just my true self as somebody who has been through a lot in this life, and just de-shaming and all of that good shit. And that's a lot of what I talk about in here, but I don't just exclusively talk about healing and spirituality. I also, like I said, I'm an artist, I'm a creative, and with my writing, with my poetry, I create visual, like music video type of things, even though I don't really make music, but they're like, I make visual videos for them, if you will. And so if you are also interested in supporting me and my art, like I said, subscribe. And I also have a playlist that has videos of my creations, my visual creations on there. So yeah, I think that's my whole spiel. I'm trying something out new because honestly, it's time we take this shit seriously. Like, heard, okay? Okay? You can tell from the title of this video today, I wanted to talk about you can't hate yourself into loving yourself. And so this is like something that, a concept, a phrase that is kind of popular. I know that it's something a lot of people have probably heard and are familiar with and have a genuine understanding of what that means. Just basically being like, if you currently hate yourself and you are trying to change yourself and to be somebody else, you're still going to hate yourself because you are deeply rejecting who you are right now. It's like, if you were just say fat, right? And you hate yourself for being fat, like even being skinny is not going to make you love yourself, like, because at the end of the day, those feelings, those wounds still exist within you, and it's important that you heal, because changing our external environment is not going to change that internal environment, if you know what I mean. But anyways, other than that, I came up with this idea to make this video as I was reflecting in my own life last night and just feeling my own inadequacy and my own feelings of shame and fear and just not feeling enough, and how much, or not even how much, but with the version of where I am right now, who I am right now, just me and my mess, me and not and having everything figured out, me, the actions that I take, just so much plays into it, and just feeling like incomplete, feeling like I don't achieve enough, feeling like I don't do enough, that I need to do more, and just this overarching sense of urgency and this need to do more, that I need to continuously push myself and achieve and produce more to be enough. And chances are, if this video found you, or if you're watching this video, you might feel the same. You might struggle with the same wounds, the same beliefs. You might find yourself time and time again just feeling like no matter what you do, what you say, how you show up is just not enough, that it's not good enough, that you doubt yourself, and you're somebody who probably has a lot of ambition, who has a lot of desires, has a lot of visions and ideas that you are genuinely excited about, and that you have the momentum and the desire to make it happen and to put it out in the world. But sometimes when you actually move forward, you hit the brakes, and sometimes those brakes is self-doubt. Sometimes those brakes, when you really sit with that self-doubt and that urgency, underneath those layers is not feeling like you're good enough, believing that you're not good enough, is shame around who you are, And I know that this is something that runs so deep within my being on a primal ancestral level. And as somebody who desires collective liberation and freedom for all people, it is so important that we recognize and validate these parts of ourselves, because within recognizing these parts of ourselves, we are initiating ourselves into breaking the cycle, not just the ancestral cycle, but the collective cycle of feeling like you need something outside of you, that you need to be different, that there is something within the future or separate from you that you need to obtain, that you need to earn, that you need to grasp in order to be enough to be whole and complete. And that's also just something that we learn within the structures of the society that we live in, within capitalism, within hierarchical structures, you know, where we're constantly sold that, you know, if we get our dream body, if we finally have the life that we want, if we're finally where we're at in our lives, that we're just gonna finally reach this like blissful, unshakable state of happiness and joy. But I've been really challenging those beliefs. I've been really questioning where they come from and opening myself up to believing something different and having a different perspective. And with that, with not even just within the moment last night, but just in so many moments leading up to that, and just with the natural just progression, or just the natural flow of healing, and, you know, connecting to my spirit team, connecting to my truth, really setting that intention as I heal my relationship with myself to plant roots in empowerment and true self-love, radical self-love and acceptance from within. I see how disconnected I have felt for so long from the present moment, and within the present moment, the wholeness and the inherent worth and value and enoughness of the present moment, and of the present moment that I exist in. And so for a lot of us who experience trauma, who experience neglect of any form, really feel this and relate to this, we learn that there's something inherently wrong with us. You know, we're mistreated from a young age. We have people making unsolicited comments about our body, especially if you're a woman. You know, so we have people criticizing us. We have, you know, parents that neglect us, who don't really take the time to devote themselves to getting to know you, getting to understand you, which can cause a disconnection from you understanding and knowing who you truly are. And, you know, when we grow up not being validated, not, you know, being approved of, where our inherent worth, our intrinsic worth is not being reflected back to us, and we have family dynamics that are dysfunctional, and we have family members who are operating from their own shame and their own unhealed wounds and trauma, that is something that we take on. We are given the examples of people in our own lives who, you know, might be we might have like immigrant parents, or blue collar workers, not even blue collar, just like, what is it, like just people who just work basically people who work. We see from our parents who work really, really fucking hard, excuse me, to take care of themselves, to take care of you and stuff. We learn that to be safe, to be stable, that you need to push, that you need to earn, that you need to chase, that you need to prove, that that stability is outside of you, that that validation, that completeness, that wholeness that we seek, that we desire, is outside of us. And it's something that no matter how hard we work, it's something that we can't fully get a grasp on. And I know that's something that I've been feeling a lot lately. It's just, at the end of the day, sometimes I'll just feel like incomplete, like I didn't do enough, like I didn't achieve enough, like there's something that is deeply missing. And I feel like that part of me that has been missing is just something that I'm learning how to connect to from within. Because the thing is, connecting to the wholeness of the present moment isn't something that you conceptually do. It's not something that you like, oh, I'm connecting to the wholeness. Like, no, it's a somatic experience. It's a physical body experience. And for so long, for so many of us who have been disconnected from the truth of who we are, from our innate worth and abundance, from feeling enough, that's something that is going to take time. It's going to take time to learn and to teach yourself how to connect to it, how to truly feel that. We all have divine support from our spirit guides, and I think just it's okay to ask for help when it comes to how to feel enough. And that's something that, oh, I'm gonna cry. When I was like EFT tapping to on this wound, on this specific feeling, on this specific experience and these fears and the shame, I just was like, you know, I don't know how to feel enough. I don't know how to connect to that, to really feel that in my body. But even though I don't know, I'm open to learning. I'm open to believing something different and something new that ultimately supports me and empowers me. And it's just planted within my truth. When we experience and feel like we're not enough, that's not our truth. It's not our truth. When we don't know anything else, that's our default. That's what we know. That's what's familiar. That's the foundations of what our relationship has been built on with ourselves. And it's a really painful, deep wound that is going to take time to heal. But I think realizing that the worth that we are looking for, the value that we are seeking, that we think is in a future version of us, that we think has it all, this standard that we think we need to reach and maintain in order to constantly be enough, is exhausting and draining. And realizing that no matter who you are, where you are in your life, even in the day you might be lazy and unproductive and not get anything done, and the days that you do, like, your worth and your value is not something that moves on a scale based on how productive you can be or how much you achieve. And that's something that I'm really learning, is like, what if right now in this moment, even in my mess, even with not having everything figured out, even with just even feeling like I'm not enough, what if I am enough? What if I can be enough? What if I can find it within myself to see that I am enough? And I see how much of constantly striving to move forward, to constantly be somewhere else, to be farther along, thinking that we need to just constantly be moving and healing and constantly critiquing and finding things that are flawed about ourselves to fix, how much we are running from ourselves in the present moment, allowing ourselves to settle within the present moment. Because I know I struggle with settling and feeling safe and just relaxing in the present moment, because my mind is just keeps going. And I also think that constantly consuming like healing and self-help content has definitely contributed to this. I mean, obviously there are those underlying wounds, but I feel like constantly consuming content, you know, that's just like, you know, you need to heal this wound, and, you know, healing this wound will help you manifest the life of your dreams. And, you know, I think, you know, healing and self-help is very important. I think it is something that we do need more of, but a lot of this content, you know, I would scroll mindlessly and consume it and really did not have my own discernment, and just really am just constantly being bombarded with this information, you know, having more input than output. And like, it makes sense that I don't really know what to do with it. Constantly have your mind somewhere else, you're not in the present moment. When you constantly have your mind on this ideal version of you in your mind that's perfect, and this ideal version of you is so not who you are currently right now, there is that self-hatred and that resentment that really bubbles to the surface. And it bubbling to the surface is not a bad thing. I think, you know, when you know, kind of have that awareness that things that come up to the surface like this are just, you know, for you to put your awareness on it, for you to feel it, for you to process it, and to validate it, and to just kind of give it that space that it needs to breathe and to be seen. And that's really a part of healing. Healing is not about being different or changing yourself, but that's kind of how I felt. That's kind of what happens when you have so much unresolved, unprocessed shame in your being on a primal identity level, and it affects everything. It affects how you move through the world, how you see yourself, how you think other people see you, what you think other people are thinking about you. And it just kind of viewing yourself through this lens of shame and just not feeling good enough. You really don't give yourself a fair assessment of yourself, because you are so clouded by self-judgment and internalizing the self-hatred. And I know it's like, when I create a video like this is not my first, like, I've recorded this video like 6 times. you know, and when I talk, I sometimes feel insecure about how I talk because I feel like what I'm saying, it doesn't matter, and I just kind of doubt myself, and I really am hard on myself, and I feel like, you know, this video or what I want to create is not really what I want it to be, because there's something wrong with me, there's something inadequate and inefficient about me, how I do things, how I speak, that is just not allowing me to have the result that I want. And it's just sometimes so easy and so comfortable for me to be hard on myself because that's so what I'm used to. And it's just like, I feel it in my body, I feel it in my chest, and it's just so like depressing. It's so fucking depressing. It really is. And like learning to just allow yourself to be is something that I'm really like wanting to learn. I'm really wanting to learn to just allow myself to be present in this moment, and to fully accept myself radically in this moment, and to not force perfection, to not force what I think I need to do, how I need to be, how I need to show up, how I need to breathe, how I need to talk, and just like allowing myself to stutter, allowing myself to be imperfect. And it's, like I said, it's not something that you consciously command. You know, you can consciously be open to it. You can consciously be like, okay, I'm ready to learn something different. I'm ready to move forward in this way, even though I don't know how to do this, even though I feel disconnected, even though I don't really know what this means. I'm open to learning, and I'm open to connecting to that in my body. I'm open to really feeling that and really believing in something different. And I think that's really the precipice of change. That's like where the shift can really take place, because we rob ourselves of actually shifting in the direction that we want to move in when we are constantly operating from shame and guilt and all of these feelings and beliefs that are just not empowering, and if anything are just really heartbreaking when you really think about it. Because it's not our fault that we believe and feel this way. I mean, like I said before, it can be from society, it can be from family. There are so many different facets of where this belief can be instilled inside of you and can really take over your fucking life and pull the strings in every decision that you make. Because it's not even that you lack, you know, ambition or lack drive. Sometimes you just fucking hate yourself. Sometimes you just believe that you're not enough, and so like, what's the point? Which is so destabilizing. And you know, believing that you're enough is a part of your foundation, and it's like when you feel disconnected from that, you feel like everything is so chaotic and up in the air. And I know that's definitely how I feel some days. I just feel so scattered, and I just don't really feel grounded, and I feel like, you know, I'm constantly thinking, what do I need to do? What do I need to do next? What should I be doing? What should, and I'm just constantly thinking from my mind. I'm constantly thinking from the part of me that believes that I'm not good enough, that associates being good enough with achieving and producing and being perceived as somebody who has it all together, and being perceived as somebody who is taking action and is making those things. And like, you know, I do. And the thing is, like, so many of us do take action. So many of us do take action and actualize our visions and our ideas and our dreams. And we overlook the steps that we've already created. We overlook the things that we've already done. And this is also where, you know, where we don't give ourselves a fair assessment of ourselves really comes into play, because we always look on our lack and our deficiencies and what we haven't done, but we really overlook what we have done, and how what we have done plays such a huge vital part in the overarching picture of what it is that we are trying to ground within this reality. And, you know, especially when you have those old foundations of believing that you're not good enough, and you are healing and you're rebuilding foundations, and it's just like, it's so much. And honestly, sometimes I try to conceptually understand it so I can explain it, but sometimes it's just not even something that you can really like mentally understand and explain. It's literally just something that you have to experience firsthand. And just like, if you know, you know. And like, I feel it and I see it. And like, all the strides that I have made within my own healing journey, not even with the uncertainty, even with not having everything figured out, I still am where I need to be. And sometimes it's just so easy to forget that. It's so easy to forget that you are enough, because the thing is, like, it's one thing to know you're enough mentally, but the disconnection really happens in your body. That disconnection happens from your body, and that's where, you know, that instability comes from. That's where I notice, for me, clinging on to old habits and patterns out of fear and shame, and holding on to, you know, weed, constantly smoking weed. No matter how high I get, it was just never enough, and I wanted to get higher to numb myself from that pain, and that pain was just not feeling good enough, not being good enough. And honestly, like, believing that you're not good enough is such a painful wound to carry. It is so fucking painful, because you feel like you're an open wound. You feel like on your person, on your forehead, in your front body, you feel like you're just this big black hole that says not good enough, and everybody can see it. And you know, and you feel that everybody can see it. You feel those eyes on you, and you feel like the way that those eyes, that energy ejecting from those eyes, is just not good enough, not good enough. And it's really debilitating. It's really fucking debilitating. With recognizing this, just initiating myself into reconciling with my truth, and realizing that, honestly, these foundations are not working, that these foundations are crumbling. And sometimes it feels like it's getting worse, but it's not actually getting worse. It's just getting louder, and I'm actually feeling it. Excuse me. Whether we know it or not, we hold when we can love ourselves and accept ourselves based on conditions. And doesn't that fucking sound familiar? Doesn't that sound like a motherfucking bitch? I mean, because it low-key is. It is very much a conditional based love and acceptance relationship that I have with myself, that so many of us have with ourselves. And a lot of this, it does stem from conditional love in our upbringing, conditional acceptance, conditional praise and validation and celebration based on us achieving and being a standard that other people approve of in their own eyes. And we also have to realize that what people approve and celebrate you for is based on, like, their own beliefs, their own internal systems. And I was also thinking about this today, because I was feeling insecure today. I was feeling insecure about how I looked, my body, my physical appearance. And growing up, you know, I can remember so many times of all the unsolicited comments about my appearance, whether, you know, it was family members constantly talking about how skinny I was, and even like complimenting me, like in a complimentary way, or even kind of just like, oh, you're so skinny, you need to eat more. Just like unsolicited, really unnecessary comments, you know, especially just a woman being in this world. That's just kind of like how it is, unfortunately. And also just growing up in school, and by the time I was in 5th grade, I started getting acne. And so, people would make unsolicited negative comments about my acne, and when I had crushes on people and they found out, they would have like a disgusted reaction, or our relationship would change, because like before they knew I had a crush on them, we were friends, and then after, they were an asshole to me, and just not being somebody who I guess was desired in the eyes of other people. And that's something that really sticks with you, and that you carry, until you're ready to face it, until you're ready to let go of that shame and to send it back to who the fuck it came from. Because at the end of the day, people are just projecting their own reality, their own experiences, what they believe. And unfortunately, so many of this is also influenced by the culture and the society that we live in, the beauty standards that we live in, of telling people, if you look like this, if you're skinny, then you're enough, and then you're valuable and you're lovable. But if you're not, then you gotta not eat. Or if you have acne, here's this fucking 72-step skincare routine, and it's just, it really goes so deep, because there's so many different facets of how this can affect us, and how we even perpetuate this onto other people, how we have internalized these systems in ourselves, where we learn from so many different experiences and so many different models to hate ourselves for things that we cannot control, to hate who we currently are, and to strive to be somebody else, to strive to be a more healed version of yourself, to strive to be a version of yourself that has clear skin, that has a skinny body. And like, the thing is, there's nothing inherently wrong with wanting clear skin or to want to be skinny, but it's the thing that motivates you that a lot of people overlook, that are not a lot of people are willing to be honest with themselves. And I'm not even trying to talk about other people. Like, this is also, like, I'm guilty of this too. This is why I'm able to talk about it. But I'm definitely guilty of just not accepting who I currently am. So I think I need to be different. And I'm really interested and open to seeing how my days can look, or just what it's like. Is this weed? I don't know, this is dirt. Oh well, I still have my shoes on in the house, which is so not like me. That's kind of grimy. What was I saying? I'm just open. I just really I'm opening up myself to learning what it really truly feels like it means for me to feel enough, to feel connected to my inherent, overflowing, abundant enoughness, and just the beauty and the wholeness of this present moment. And you know, like I've heard that before. I've heard other people say that before, and it's such a beautiful thing to hear, but it's not really something that you can fully conceptualize or understand or even connect to when you haven't experienced that for yourself. And sometimes we really need to experience a lesson ourselves first-handedly for it to fully land in a more harmonious way that makes more sense, that we feel in our own bodies, that we can relate to and connect with, to our own experiences and just who we are in our own natural time and pacing. But I really do have to remember that and we all need to remember that this is a process, it's a journey, and just being open to learning how to love and accept yourself radically within this present moment. Even with all the things that you haven't accomplished, even with not being as far as you'd like to be in your life, in your career, in whatever it is you're building. But also seeing that the things that you've done up until this moment are enough, that you are enough. And this is like one thing that even just saying I'm enough, sometimes I don't even feel it. Sometimes I don't even feel it in my body, because I'm like, what does that mean? Because what does it mean to feel enough in your body? What does it mean? What does it mean? I hope y'all know what that video is from. Don't, no, because I'm not Unk. I hate that. But it's so funny. Is this weed? Like, it looks like weed, but it's literally just dirt. I think it's just grass. It's like grass and dirt. So I mean, grass. That's my video on you can't hate yourself into loving yourself. And learning to love yourself really is about learning to meet yourself where you are at. Even meeting the parts of you that you might not feel satisfied with yet, that you feel are lacking or inadequate. And I think that you can still feel inadequate and learn to love and accept yourself, that there is space for both, that both can exist at once. And that even that inadequacy, you know, there might be truth in it, because maybe you don't know enough. Maybe, you know, you need to learn more about a topic before you talk about it. Maybe, you know, there's always room for improvement. And I think finding that balance between like, okay, I'm enough and what I do is enough, but there's also room for improvement, and learning to not view room for improvement as a way to like gang up on myself and fucking like annihilate myself and be so critical of myself to the point of like internal collapse. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I think I'm gonna stop here. If there's anything I want to add, I will probably pick up my phone and start yapping like I do. That's what I do best. But I hope you guys have had a great Valentine's Day and also a great February. Good luck with this upcoming eclipse. It's, you know, almost the fire horse season on the 17th, which is also my mother's birthday. Like, girl, not all this shit happening on her birthday. Like, what's gonna happen? I'm kind of scared for her. I hope she'll be fine, y'all. Bye, guys. I love you.